halfway mark of the 2026 season in the Arena League brings us back to St. Joseph, Missouri. Another home matchup for the Goats, second time in a row as they host the winless Eau Claire Axemen out of Wisconsin. Welcome to the broadcast booth here at the Civic Arena in St. Joe. Dylan Funk alongside Aaron Feely as we got another great matchup on tap here tonight in the Arena League. Let's start with the visitors first, Aaron. Eau Claire 0-4, dead last in the North Division so far. A team that only has one win going all the way back to their inception a season ago, looking to come in and be the second straight road team to potentially beat the Goats, and really, Aaron, they need a win in a desperate way anyways.
Absolutely. Obviously in one of the tougher divisions with St. Joseph and, of course, the team that they just lost to a week ago. It's a massive, massive undertaking here for Eau Claire coming here. For St. Joseph, this is a bounce-back game. They desperately need a win, trying to keep pace to try to still go maintain a possible 1 seed. And, Eau Claire's got a bit of a rotating roster, and so does St. Joseph.
Yeah, pretty easy to say. A lot of new names going to be featured on the field tonight, and for St. Joe, it's going to be their third quarterback starting in the last 4 weeks. Robert McCoy Jr. signed to the team on Wednesday, Aaron, and he is a veteran around arena football, you could say. 2 teams, 2 leagues, 2 championships. That's the pedigree he brings to this team tonight.
Yeah, and he's trying to make it 3 for 3. Obviously, a lot of Goats fans looking forward to that potential. He's a guy with a winning pedigree, as you mentioned. He's a guy making his Arena League debut, not across all of arena football, but in the Arena League. And, he's got a great opportunity for a tune-up game here against a team that comes in with the last-ranked defense in the Arena League.
Should be a week for the St. Joe offense and the team to look to get back on track after losing their first game last week here at home against the Nebraska Siege. More coming up here from St. Joe on the Arena League YouTube channel. Goats winning the toss, electing to defer, so they will throw it away first. Ja'Kalen Jackson will do the honors. Back to return for Eau Claire is Devon Harris, number 3. Goats looking to get back in the win column, suffering their first loss here at home. Eau Claire looking for that first win as we are underway here in St. Joe, Missouri. And as the return by Harris, cut down just as he passes the 10-yard line. One of the many newcomers for the Goats in this game, that's Marcus Zawifel, like a torpedo coming in and taking him down.
No stranger to the Goats as an organization. He's been here in previous seasons, but did not start 2026 with the St. Joe Goats. Back, though, here in Goats colors. Hey, way to introduce yourself again to the home crowd.
Has the nickname Mojo for a reason. He brings the fire there, and Eau Claire will start just past their own 10-yard line. Malik Gaylord, the quarterback tonight for Eau Claire, as he fires away. Nice one-handed snag. And eventually a convoy of Goats able to bring down Eldridge. Joyce, the big 6'6" man out of Champlin, Minnesota.
Yeah, obviously studying their film from Nebraska a week ago. The quick flats routes to the tight ends as a way to try to negate the St. Joe pass rush, particularly those blitzes they love to send. We'll see how many more teams start utilizing that against St. Joe as the season goes onward if Nebraska didn't find a certain weakness in an otherwise very stout Goats defense.
We'll see how this defense of St. Joe responds. High snap taking, quick sidearm fling. And a return going to be had here and into the end zone. No signal yet. They're going to call it touchdown. Sincere Greer that has it. Would imagine they're going to take a heavy look at this and see right now, though, for Sincere Greer, it's a pick six.
We're going to take a look at the replay here. See if they won't want to take a look at it. That was very close to the ground. He makes the hit. Oh, there's going to be a stoppage.
We'll see if there's either a challenge flag or if they might not even put a challenge flag out. One of the head coaches and the officials might get together and talk this over. I think we're going to see Eau Claire throw the challenge flag.
Now, we certainly need to see irrefutable proof that that hit the ground, but it certainly looks like his hands come off the ball and he re-catches it on the turf. As we'll take a quick peek at the replay. Sincere Greer would be quite the start for these Goats.
Yeah, so Eau Claire officially, I think they just said it there over the in-house system. They're going to challenge, and here's probably the best look we're going to have at it right here.
Thinking maybe the end zone shot might even be a better look at it, but even from this angle, that looks incomplete.
Yeah, I think this is going to come back as they'll just go down as an incompletion. Going to be good about third and medium. They even have the chain set back up. So again, all signs showing this is going to go in favor of Eau Claire. And for the Axemen, you know, bullet dodge, at least there at the start, is Sincere Greer so close to having yet another pick six. But again, just waiting for the official green light that they're going to turn this over, or reverse it, I should say. The offense, meanwhile, for St. Joe is on the field. They believe that all is good, and they're going to be going for a one-point try. But until they're told otherwise, they don't really have a reason to leave the field.
Yeah, that was a heck of an effort, if nothing else. Certainly no bullet dodge from Eldridge Joyce, who took a shot from Greer as he was out in the flats. Should be third down coming up, however, as they've got the chains still spotted over there to reset the ball. And now it looks like they are officially making the switch. We've got the St. Joe defense coming back out. So obviously saw enough to overturn this to incomplete. Oh, heck of an effort from Greer either way. The former, well, at the time, Arlington Renegade in the XFL. Part of that championship team in 2023. Plenty of spring football experience here on these Goats and championship pedigrees from across several other leagues.
No doubt about it.
Greer joins Robert McCoy, the new quarterback for St. Joseph. We'll be seeing some of him later on. Two-time champion, both in the National Arena League and Arena Football 1. But back to third down here after the overturn.
Need to get to the 21 to get a fresh set of downs. Needed for the Axemen as that's batted out and incomplete. Defensive backs getting names called early here for St. Joe. That was Joko Willis on the breakup, the former Auburn Tiger.
Yeah, and that's one that the quarterback just needs to be able to read there. Gaylord doesn't see him crashing down to that side. He saw the corner break outward, and I think he was one defender reading that thing. That's what led to the incomplete pass. He thought his hitch was open, but Willis was crashing down to the flats the entire way. Just have to be able to read the whole field a little bit better going forward here for Gaylord. And now it's going to be a St. Joe ball after the surrender from Eau Claire.
And it's our first look at Robert McCoy Jr., 6'1", 190 pounds, out of Willingboro, New Jersey. And he's had two prior seasons in arena football, two different teams, two different leagues, as his first pass is a completion close to midfield. And he's won two championships as well. As they quickly overturn it, they're going to say incomplete. The intended receiver, Isaiah Alston, another new receiver in the room this week for the Goats.
Yeah, obviously no Boo Smith this week due to an undisclosed injury, so we might be seeing a lot more of number 8, 6'4" out of New Jersey. Big target.
Quick toss. Wilson with the head of steam around the edge. He's been heavily involved in this offensive mix over the past couple of weeks, especially as a receiving threat. He's a great, tremendous overall athlete, and he gets a good chunk there to bring up third and short.
Yeah, St. Joe desperately still needing to get that run game going this season.
Still going to go with the hurry up, stepping up. McCoy Jr. going to take off and run, wrapped up by Richie Murray as he's brought down, but into Axemen territory go the Goats.
Yeah, Richie Murphy, makes the big hit, and what a way to endear yourself early to your brand new team. Robert McCoy lowers the shoulder from the quarterback position to make sure he got that first down.
Rolls out again, fires complete, play's not dead, so heads up awareness. I believe that's PJ Caldwell on the far side of the field. Wasn't touched, so I'm gonna get up and get a couple more extra yards.
A good start here, good crisp start from McCoy Jr. They're continuing this hurry up.
Something the Goats have struggled with is slow starts on offense, trying to get rid of that here tonight. And it's going to continue as they throw an interception right at the goal line, and now a return. And a big takeaway here for the Axemen, as I believe that's Devontae Tinsley, number 9, to get it.
Hard to tell.
Ray Watson, I think it's Ray Watson, number 8.
Definitely, I think, would be Watson at this point. The Goats are trying to argue he was down as soon as he caught it, that Martinez touched him and pushed him into the wall. Looks like maybe, though, the correct call was made on the field. I think Martinez didn't touch him, and it was barely a graze until after he had already reestablished himself back in the field of play. But again, undercuts that route right as we start talking about how crisp McCoy was playing. Big defensive play by the Axemen.
I guess put that in the category of announcers jinx. Now the Axemen offense back out on the field, surrendered their last time, and this is almost identical to where they had their first starting field position last time out. Gaylord nowhere to go, he's brought down. And after having no sacks a week ago, the Goats get their first here. Joko Willis, the first to make contact.
Yeah, they're going to give half a sack there to Mike Reynolds, as well as the Gravedigger gets on the stat sheet early, and that's what the Goats do best defensively. They bring the blitz from that far side. Linebacker comes on a stunt around the offensive left end. They had nobody there to account for him, and he comes in clean, gets right on Gaylord. And a huge defensive play for the Goats early, who are playing no safeties back. They are trusting their corners in this defense.
Batted as it's thrown, incomplete. It's a flag on the far side. And it looks like somebody of the Goats came across early for an offside.
Yeah, we can try to take a look at the replay here and see who it was that was lined up across the ball. An unfortunate play there for St. Joseph. They were able to make a really nice play to bat the ball right at the line. And based on the replays we have here, I'd have to imagine that's near side.
They're a team that doesn't commit a whole lot of penalties. 8 in the home loss last week, and they get one here. Still a good chunk to get on second down, 2nd and 12. To the near side, and completes. Able to hold on near the walls. Receiver number 11, Bryant Smith. Great coverage by Darius Orfels. Just able to thread the needle. There's Gaylord.
Yeah, that was a heck of a throw. Coming off of a series last time where they went quickly 3 and out. Threads the needle, as you mentioned, into tight coverage. I thought that was a risky pass to let go of. And he ends up picking up half of it here to make 3rd down a lot more manageable.
Smith in motion, as well as Sinquay Grant. Now Gaylord brought down from behind. It's Nasir Greer again.
Greer is making a name for himself out there here tonight. This is a heck of a tackle in the open field against a fairly difficult quarterback to tackle in the open field. He does it with one hand.
And the Goats have almost double the amount of sacks and more than anybody else in the league, and the team in 2nd place. And showing it here after being held to no sacks last week, already 2. And another stop potentially looming as Gaylord gets everybody on the line of scrimmage ready to go. 4th down and 6, an early gamble here for Eau Claire.
Watch Willis on the blitz.
No flags out, firing down the field, and nobody's going to be home. No one in the same zip code.
And I know it's 4th down. St. Joseph might not care that much, but that should be grounding. I mean, there's nobody in the area. I understand the official was open, but he's not going to be able to haul that one in for you. Maybe a miscommunication or maybe just a panic throw. I'm not sure. The receiver looked like he was almost borderline setting up to maybe block for an underneath pass. He kind of ran a half hitch, half turn up field ready to block, weird hybrid route.
Quick toss, pulled down by Caldwell. And it'll be near a fresh set it down. It's only about a yard or 2 away. B.J. Caldwell already a couple of catches in this game.
Might want to try to settle down McCoy here. Starting to get a little erratic with these passes.
This one to the end zone, and it's too high, and it's called incomplete there as everybody will come back and reset. It's going to be a third and short play coming up for St. Joe. Again, Robert McCoy Jr. signed to the team on Wednesday. Was a day before decision of was he going to play tonight or not. He's out there active, trying to lead his first touchdown drive as a goat as Malik Wilson. Touchdown, St. Joseph able to bounce back to the far side.
Oh my goodness, what a cutback here from Wilson. You gotta love the high step. You're a Chiefs fan, I've been a Bears fan most of my life. Bit of a resemblance to a Walter Payton, Priest Holmes-esque high step into the end zone, but look at the vision, cuts it back, one last cut to the inside, and that is a solo effort from number 10 as St. Joseph comes in, one of the bottom-ranked teams in rushing offense, and that might kickstart them a little bit.
Now for the conversion try, and the ball's loose again. They're going to say it was a forward pass, and it's incomplete. McCoy Jr. quickly gets off the turf and heads back into the sideline. Saw the Goats a couple of conversions last week where they put the ball on the ground and saw a return by the Siege that was taken back for some points. Not the case here, but they do get out to an early 6-0 lead.
That one looked very similar to the one that was taken back for 2 against them last week as well. Certainly something that they probably need to iron out is the decision making on those conversions. When you're already getting sacked, don't make a bad play worse. That one very nearly became one. The Goats struggles with conversions despite being the top offense in the Arena League. That has been one aspect where the offense has not been particularly successful. They haven't been able to run the ball all that well, and they haven't been very good on conversions. But they score enough touchdowns otherwise that they're still the top offense in the Arena League.
Usually for the most part it helps make up for it so it doesn't sting as much, but something as the season goes along. Officially now over halfway through as this is going to go off the Raptors. It's a dead ball, and Eau Claire is going to take over at midfield. I mean, from looking at the conversions for St. Joseph last week, 1 for 8 on third downs, 1 for 4 on fourth downs, and their extra point tries after were not any better, well below 50%. And again, that's a consistent they've had this entire season. Will they eventually turn it around? We'll find out. There's still about 4 weeks left of the regular season before we go into the playoffs starting in around early August. A prime chance here for Eau Claire. Malik Gaylord, he's the quarterback of these Axemen, 5'10", 190 pounds out of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Completed 45% of his passes last week in a loss to the Iowa Woo for 182 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Also had 2 fumbles and loss. Was really putting together a really nice game, but those fumbles lost really the difference between the 1-3 to the 0-4 record now, where it sits for the Axemen, as that one is behind, incomplete of his intended receiver, Rashawn Benners.
Yeah, the Siege had a bit of success last week against the Goats in what was mostly a defensive battle, but when they were able to move the ball, those crossing patterns were a huge part of it. You can definitely see some influence on Eau Claire's game plan based on St. Joe's film from a week ago. But right there, I mean, that was just a pass behind him. Right now, Gaylord not as sharp as he would like to be in a game where he's trying to pull a huge upset here for the 0-4 Axemen.
For the season, just completing under 50% of his passes. Fires again, another one that's batted. Incomplete off the hands of Joko Willis, already having a very solid game on the defensive side of the ball, and we're still in the first quarter.
As we take a look here at the batted pass, that has been an issue all season long, is Gaylord currently coming in second from the bottom in the Arena League in completion percentage, one of only 2 quarterbacks here with an under 50% completion percentage. Right there with Vernon Sharp of the Iowa Woo, who has not been so sharp this season.
And the 2 teams in the bottom of the standings is a good correlation there.
Meanwhile, St. Joseph now in their 3rd quarterback this season.
The pass again with some time, looking for the shot downfield to the end zone, and it's incomplete and almost over the wall is Cinquay Grant.
And here's the thing, Eau Claire has had some options down the field thus far here today. Right there, Grant had a step on his man. The passes have just not quite been there. in order to hit these guys in the windows they need to be hit in. We'll see if that's able to get ironed out as the game goes along, but this has been an issue for Eau Claire all season long. Second from last in offense in the league. We talked about their defense. Yes, that's been an issue, but it's not helping things whatsoever when you're just unable to complete these passes, short or long, and especially against a defense like St. Joseph that makes you pay for it.
So one completion, now a lane opens in the middle, and he's going to take it. And is he going to take it to the house? He will. Touchdown, Eau Claire. Touchdown, Malik Gaylor doing it with the legs.
Well, when you're not making it happen through the air, that is one way to try to jumpstart an offense, and now an extra point away from potentially taking an early lead against St. Joseph. And I'm not really sure what was going on there with Nasir Greer. He was kind of almost quarterback spying, but shading to the outside as if it was some sort of hook zone coverage, which it didn't look like the rest of his team was playing, and it just left a running lane right down the middle. No reason to be out there. There's a run lane in the Arena League that he has to stay within, does Gaylord. I'm not really sure what Greer was thinking on that play.
And now a 1-point conversion away from the lead. An open man, he falls back, and he's in, and Eau Claire has the lead here over St. Joseph. It's Brian Smith on the 1-point try.
And Smith, the ball took him to the ground, had an opportunity to just run up and touch him and potentially keep that point off the board. But watch him continue to roll, And yeah, not until well too late does Jackson reach out and try to get a piece of him. So now Eau Claire in the lead here in the first quarter. And St. Joseph needs a response lest they let a devastating loss a week ago in a tight game with Nebraska suddenly turn into the dreaded losing streak, Dylan.
Losing that game to the Siege 56-49. It was the battle of the two undefeated teams, both in the North Division. Goats now firmly placed in second, looking above the Siege. The Axemen currently in the basement up north and trying to climb out. And again, I think for Eau Claire, if you would have told them this point in the game, having this 1-point lead, they're going to take it right now, trying to keep the momentum on their side. Goats looking for an answer. A return by Caldwell Pidney. He'll get close to the 15, but no further.
Caldwell, back-to-back weeks as the primary returner now, which is big news for St. Joseph, who in the first 4 games used 4 different kick or throw-off returners. Able to get that one up to about the 14, and now a big drive coming here for McCoy. The Goats hoping that they'll get Angelo Trujillo back at some point this season, who is playing fantastic ball before his injury.
And now missing his 3rd straight game is Trujillo. They go down the line on the far side. Get a couple of quick yards here, about a handful. Second down coming up. Expected timeline for Angelo Trujillo, as we talk to him, is possibly after the 4th of July bye week. So we're looking at the next home game, Friday, July 10th. We'll see if he makes it back by then or not. Martinez, quick catch and brought down. The 3rd down play coming up from about the 20.
And this is a big opportunity for Eau Claire to potentially pull an upset. As we mentioned, not only Trujillo out, but Boo Smith, the team's top receiver, also missing today's game.
As well as A.D. Ely, who's been having some great games in his first year as a Goat, as flags will halt this play.
We expect a big bulk of the offense to come through Ryan Martinez and Dom Marshall.
And it's a false start on St. Joe, their 2nd penalty tonight. I mean, the inactives, we mentioned Boo Smith, Trujillo, A.D. Ely. On the defensive side, you have Joseph Weathersby, not active. Josh White, the starting quarterback for the past couple of weeks, not active. Linebacker Jackson Flowers and defensive back C.J. Bradley. So on both sides of the ball, the Goats have some players not playing for various reasons, bringing in a bunch of new faces as well. B.J. Caldwell, he's had his name called a lot so far through the air as he gets another catch.
Going to be about a yard.
That penalty yardage back. It's going to be a 4th and short.
Yeah, sorry about that, partner, but yeah, about a yard shy there. We'll see if this might be the time where you try to get Malik Wilson going, but no, he's going to be up high as a lead blocker.
And to run, McCoy slung back, but right as he gets to midfield, and that's going to be enough to keep the drive alive for St. Joe.
Looked like he was going to get that thing with ease as we take a look at the replay, but just barely across the line, and then he falls straight sideways, which surely gave a couple of fans here in attendance some nervousness.
Make sure no knee, thigh, nothing like that was down on the turf short of midfield to potentially ruin that try. Throw off his back foot to the end zone. Touchdown, St. Joe. Ryan Martinez.
There he is, Martinez. Look for him to be one of the featured points of this offense. With so many receivers out, one of the 3-year veterans for the squad. He's been here since year 1 of the Arena League, been a GOAT the entire time, been a part of some of the biggest moments in GOAT's history. And he's a part of that touchdown, gets him back the lead.
I think arguably just some of the biggest plays we've seen in the Arena League. It's been Ryan Martinez, and you and I screaming his name through the microphones. He gets his first touchdown catch tonight. Goats back in front, looking for the try. And incomplete. Marshall was open, but Boyd Jr. not able to get it to him. So it'll be 12-7, Goats with the lead.
Yeah, obviously Marshall got himself, pretty hittably open on that out cut. Pass just really low, and right now, after a good solid start from Robert McCoy Jr., there is clearly a bit of rattledness about him. Need to get him settled back down and start hitting some of these easy ones again. St. Joseph, they've got an explosive offense. It should be the side of the ball that's really carrying them this year, with that defense just there for a little extra seasoning on some of these wins. But yeah, we mentioned with Trujillo out, they've tried a couple of other quarterbacks, and the offense hasn't looked quite the same. They're hoping that McCoy would be able to spark it, considering his experience, but right now had a couple of early misses that he probably wants back.
Talking about McCoy's resume a little bit later, a return pending, but it can go bounce in the end zone and out of the back, so a touchback. Heads up awareness by Devon Harris to just let that one go. Again, Trujillo going down. They had Josh White, who had 2 prior seasons here in the Arena League. They signed him on a Friday before a game. They signed Robert McCoy at least this Wednesday, and was able to get caught up, get familiar with the playbook, get comfortable with his receivers. He's out there playing tonight. 2 different leagues, 2 different championships across Arena football. Right now he's got his team out to a 12-7 lead. Malik Gaylor with the rushing touchdown his last time. See what he can do as he fires over the middle and incomplete, trying to feed it up to Bryant Smith.
That's one that was also behind his receiver, but that one's less on the quarterback. That was just his window to throw. The timing was just slightly off. St. Joe had it played well. They got into those rush lanes, got their hands up, and forced the pass to go right to that spot. Tough catch to be made, good defense.
1 down, 3 to go here in St. Joseph, Missouri. It's the Goats that take a 12-7 lead with them to the second quarter.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
12-7 to open up the second quarter here in St. Joseph, Missouri. Dylan Funk and Aaron Feely here with you up in the broadcast booth. Another energetic crowd on hand tonight. Cheering on the hometown Goats, looking to get back in the win column as really have a hold of the lead, but Axemen looking to respond. A rush in here. And getting a little bit of breathing room courtesy of Devon Harris, a rushing team, Aaron, that they are no strangers to running the ball here in the Arena League. Kind of them and Nebraska, maybe two of the top 2 or top 3 teams as far as rushing the ball, rushing yards per game. The Goats defense last week was tremendous at limiting the Siege rushing attack, and looking to keep that theme going here tonight.
Eau Claire currently comes in top half of the league as a rushing offense. St. Joseph did manage to climb up to 3rd from the bottom over the last 2 weeks.
And another one that's just too high out of the reach of Smith, under some distress in his end zone.
That's another one. He had Smith open on that deep post. It's just a matter of ball location has not been on for Eau Claire, and they're going to surrender this football back to St. Joseph. And we'll take another look at Robert McCoy Jr. See if one of these 2 quarterbacks with shaky starts can start to feel a little bit of momentum, get something going in the passing game on either side.
Again, you got Malik Gaylord on one end. It's his first year, first experience, first handful of games even, just his 5th he's playing in at this level. And, you know, the experience for Robert McCoy Jr. is there, but his time here at St. Joseph, we're breaking into the 4th day as of right now. Not even a full week here with this team, and being without a couple of his top targets in Boo Smith and A.D. Ely as well. So not even in an offense that's at 100% strength here tonight. P.J. Caldwell has been his top man so far, as he'll take it to the 20. We'll see what the penalty flag is.
Curious if it was on Caldwell for a hold right before he released and went out for the pass. And it looks like that is going to be the call. We'll take a look at the replay here. Caldwell trying to claim he just swiped him down. He might have had a grab of some jersey and tossed him. You'll see him on the block here. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Grabbed him by the back of that jersey right before he released. Totally unnecessary, because at that point he's already past you. Erases a nice 4-yard gain. Turns into a 1st and a long ways.
Need to get to midfield for a fresh set of downs, but we've got some downs to work with. Pressured in the end zone, trying to peel around, and he's not going to get rid of the ball. It's a safety. And the floodgates is opening on the pass rush there for Eau Claire, and McCoy Jr. no options, as tracking him down was Tyreek Mann.
Yeah, you just got to know to get that ball out of there. He had some options again in the flats, and for some reason he was trying to turn into a big play, decided to keep backpedaling and try to spin out of there. And right now, letting an Eau Claire team hang around with you, and that's how upsets tend to happen. You can't give them life, and they've got quite a bit of it right now. Not just life, but they are feeling good despite the 3-point hole.
Well, you saw the energy starting to mount in the sideline area as well. Richie Murphy trying to lead the charge to get his team fired up. They can retake the lead on this ensuing possession. St. Joe is going to throw it away after giving up the safety. That was Tyreek Mann. If he sounds familiar, he should. Formerly the past 2 seasons with the Duluth Harbor Monsters, a 2-time Arena League champion as well. And now he has his time here with the Eau Claire Axemen and making an impact in a big way. Second week in a row that the Civic Arena has seen a safety. Another return going to be taken by Harris. Tripped up, able to get a shoestring is Bojo Swifel again.
He's looked good today. Here called into action, back with the Goats. Made a couple of really nice special teams tackles. Did have an offside penalty earlier on in the game from his defensive end position. However, otherwise, looked solid, especially in run defense. Made a play on that previous series. As now it's going to be a matter of if Eau Claire can finally get the offense rolling in some way. Their defense has played all right. Their offense has not had much in the way of answers for St. Joseph's defense. And when they have had the answers, they've just missed on them. As we get a timeout on the field. Got some water coming out for both sides, so take a moment to talk about kind of the season to this point and the effect for St. Joseph. The offense has absolutely looked different since the Trujillo injury, which is only interesting because Trujillo has been here with the Goats before. He's not been primarily a quarterback in his tenure with St. Joseph, so it is a bit interesting to see the effect that he was able to have this year, given those reins, given the chance to be the full-time quarterback rather than just a do-it-all Cordell Stewart-esque athlete on the team. And now we've seen the difference, too. They brought in two other quarterbacks, two other experienced, accomplished quarterbacks, and they just have not been able to get this offense rolling the same way that Trujillo has been able to.
Again, originally a full-time defensive back in the first year, and he was brought on halfway through the season opener last summer. He replaced Dylan Van Boxel as quarterback, held it the entire way through for over 1,400 yards, 30-plus touchdown passes. Most prolific quarterback in the league last year. Here's a throw down the field, getting tripped up, and it goes incomplete. Eldridge Joyce, the intended receiver.
Yeah, and another instance where Joyce got himself open. They just have to find a way to hit on some of these. They have not been crisp or clean through the air. The receivers are doing their jobs, and right now, Gaylord just has to be able to hit some of these. Right there, obviously stumbling at the end, trying to see if he could convince an official that it was a flag. It was not. There was almost no contact to speak of, but hey, when your offense is as stagnant as this, you can't blame him for trying.
Another batted pass and nearly intercepted, and one had pick six written all over it. Already the third pass breakup tonight for Joko Willis, and he's bent over thinking, man, that should have been six.
As we take a look at the replay, Joko Willis has been a bit of a gadget defender, making some of the most interesting, incredible plays across the Arena League this year. If anyone was going to do that, it was going to be him on this Goats defense, but just couldn't quite come up with the ball.
Has a couple interceptions this season. One last week against Nebraska. The very first that was thrown by Caleb Lowe on the season. And almost had one there. Now it's 3rd and 10. Pressure coming. Greer might have gotten a fingertip as the pass goes incomplete in the way of Cinquay Grant. And Nasir Greer, I'm curious if he maybe got a pinky or a finger on that ball as it was coming over the middle. And the Axemen will surrender for the second straight drive.
Yeah, another one where he just had his man. Grant off the line of scrimmage, one with ease, got inside on that slant. That could have been a huge play, and man, the Axemen are just leaving a whole lot of offense out there on the field.
That was very similar to the missed opportunities that St. Joseph had on the offensive side, particularly in the red zone last week against Nebraska in that loss. See if the Axemen can get things turned around. As another quick catch brought down Dom Marshall at the 20.
Dom Marshall, one of their better run after catch guys, but right there, great open field tackle by Ray Watson.
His first catch tonight. Now he tries to feed it to Isaiah Alston, and it's incomplete. He had Richie Murphy creeping up behind him, and maybe he heard the footsteps.
Definitely look in the direction of Caldwell here.
Over the middle, bobbled. And intercepted again, trying to go to Alston. He gets a piece of the hair hanging out. It's a legal play. He gets a hold of Ray Watson. And the Goats offense just sputtering here.
That's Watson's second INT of this ball game as well. He's looking good. That was just a prayer thrown up there. And it has not necessarily been Brady Manning here tonight. These two quarterbacks having some struggles as these defenses are making their lives miserable, but they also just have not been as crisp and clean as we've seen previous games from either of these offenses. Something in the water tonight. It has just not been the game that either of these two teams have become accustomed to offensively.
Second pick tonight for Ray Watson. And that one off the deflection. Again, trying to go back to Isaiah Alston, making his Goats debut tonight. Had a drop, and then that one, he deflected it up in the air for the INT. And the Axemen, if we don't have the lead, they're only down 3, can change here. And it could be a thing of which offense gets going first. And this could be a good start for the Axemen. Rashawn Benner's able to hold on. Zweifel losing his helmet for St. Joe. He'll have to come out for this next play. To take his place will be James Bell. But a nice grab and run by Brenners.
Yeah, and he gets, again, wide open right off the line of scrimmage. Throw a little behind him, but this time he makes the play. Goes back shoulder, hauls it in, run after the catch. The Axemen needed that desperately, Dylan.
Some strong run after catch there by Rashawn Benner, 6'2", 190 out of Dayton, Ohio. He's going to get a head start at about midfield. To the left of Gaylord is Harris, and the ball stepped back. And for Eau Claire, they finally find a way to take a step forward on offense. They follow it up by taking 2 steps back.
That has been something, too, that we've seen in pretty much every single Goats home game this season. Opposing centers and the snap issues, that one was just mistimed. We've seen a lot of low snaps. That one was just a matter of snapping it prematurely. You could call that, as we do pretty much every single week on this broadcast, the Mike Reynolds effect. Probably the best interior defensive lineman in the Arena League. Another veteran of this league. One of the top players every single year. And again, it's just a matter of when you've got other things to think about, sometimes that snap becomes a little less routine.
It's Akeem Peterson, the man to have the one-on-one duties with Mike Reynolds tonight. Another pass goes incomplete. Looking for Smith, as he might have had the space, just didn't get quite turned around. It's a little bit of the timing that's continuing to be an issue for Gaylord and his receiving core tonight.
Yeah, that one was absolutely not a location issue on that throw. That was perfect. He read the coverage brilliantly. The blitz came from the opposite side, threw one-on-one to his top receiver, and Smith just hadn't quite turned around in time. Otherwise, that would have been a nice chunk play. Instead, it's 3rd and 25.
Need to get all the way inside the red zone to the St. Joe 5. Gaylord looking for it all to the end zone, and it's incomplete.
And now you might have to genuinely consider a surrender here, despite the fact you had 1st and 10 inside the red zone. You were at the Goats 15 for your first down, and now that's where they're going to spot the ball because they're going to surrender this thing over thanks to that botched snap on 1st down.
3 drives in the second quarter, 3 surrenders for the Axemen. Just haven't been able to capitalize, and now 0 for 6 on 3rd down tries in this ball game. And again, the defense is doing the jobs on both sides. It's again, which offense is going to capitalize? St. Joe back out there. A quick hitter to Martinez up against the wall. Lateraling it backwards. There's some traffic. He finds Wilson. Flags will come down. Very risky and lateral in traffic, but
yeah, probably not as lateral as we're leading everyone to believe based on these flags. I think that might have gone forward by about a yard.
Very good chance.
The officials will discuss it first. We can also take a look at our replay here.
And it seems like St. Joe, just out of all the teams in the Arena League, they're the ones that are not afraid the most, to me at least, to kind of go to that kind of schoolyard football at recess, just passing it backwards, all the tricks out of the bag. And for the past couple of weeks, it's been more forward passes and leading to penalties. Another catch for Caldwell. It's already his 6th. And able to get himself forward back past the original line of scrimmage. And then some.
That was just well defended there by the Axemen. The intent with those clear out routes going the other way was to get Caldwell sneaked out there. They stole that one from Nebraska a week ago. Just didn't operate well that time.
McCoy to run, lowering the shoulder near midfield. He'll be a couple of yards short. And a 4th down try coming up here.
He might have had Alston too, running right up that seam. But I think he had predetermined that he was going to try to take off and get that thing himself really early on into that play. So we'll get a 4th down and short, but first a timeout coming.
Looks like the injured player, shaken up player for Eau Claire is Richie Murphy, 5'9", 185 out of Cameron, Wisconsin. He has been arguably the most popular and followed player in the Arena League this year. A heavy social media presence, trying to cover his career from going all the way from Division III football to trying to one day live out his dream to make it into the NFL. And having a good season so far with Eau Claire, and the Goats on 4th and short get the Axemen to come across early. At least that's the initial indication, unless if somebody for the Goats move first. It's the classic pointing game right now.
We'll have to see whether the blue or the white officials get believed here by the real officials, and it was a false start against St. Joseph.
Well, we'll take a look. We'll see who moved first.
Oh, that was tight.
For now, it's going to go in the book as the 5th penalty in the game for St. Joseph. Just one so far for Eau Claire. And yeah, that one was definitely close. And the Goats looks like they're going to surrender.
Yeah, backing up a little bit now, deciding they don't want to risk not getting it and giving Eau Claire the ball right back where they would have had it before that botched snap at the St. Joe 15. I kind of like the call too. Obviously a defensive head coach for St. Joseph, the ex-safety for the University of Wyoming, Dorsey Golston. Loving what his defense has put on tape this season, and especially today. That defense has looked good. The offense just hasn't been able to quite carry its weight the same way it has in previous weeks. But when your defense is playing like this, you don't want to give Eau Claire any opportunities for a freebie by giving them the ball at your own 15. Back them up, send them back to their own end. See if you can't get the ball right back for yourself.
And again,
in the 3 plays.
More and more times as Eau Claire offense coming on the field, looking up and seeing only a 3-point lead for the Goats. Looking to crack into it here. Another throw down the field and a little closer, but it goes incomplete and into the sideline area for Eau Claire. Again, trying to feed it up to Bryant Smith.
They're just trying to hit that go ball again, pass a little too far out in front of him. Coverage was good. Shout out there, Jacqueline Jackson. Jacqueline Jackson was step for step with him, had his eyes back on the quarterback. Had that been an on-target throw, we might be talking about an interception. So probably a good throwaway, especially with Reynolds breathing down his neck in the backfield.
3 straight surrenders for this offense of Eau Claire. That was close maybe to coming across early on the line of scrimmage. There's Smith. 11 on 11 there. Jacqueline Jackson with him and bringing him down quickly at about the 22.
This will be a big 3rd down coming from Eau Claire. Might be in the area where even if you don't get much, they might consider going for it just based on how close to midfield they now are.
0 for 6 so far on 3rd downs tonight. They did go for it on 4th down once, and they failed that one as well. Need 4 to keep the drive alive, get to midfield. Barreling towards 3 to go until halftime, a 12-9 low scoring affair. Rolled snap, picking it up. Gonna have to improvise, throw down the field, and it's wide again.
Well, it was technically caught by an Axemen, but yeah, Kendall Fowler not on the field of play. So now we're gonna have a 4th down. 3rd down completely botched. Eau Claire came in 6th in the league in 3rd down efficiency. And yeah, they're just going to surrender it again. So that's why St. Joe decided to surrender. When they had it around midfield, they figured they trusted their defense. They were going to get that ball right back. Of course, the Goats will also get the ball to begin the 2nd half after winning the coin toss and deferring to begin this game.
There's 4 straight surrenders, 5 total in the game on 7 drives for the Axemen. That one caught by Alston, trying to get back in rhythm. Had a rough offensive drive a couple of drives ago, leading to an interception. Gets the Goats to midfield, and whistles will come, and that is going to be the 2-minute warning.
Shame, too, because he had Alston open again. That fast-paced, high-tempo offense finally worked there on that play, but that one's the one that's not going to count.
Back with more from St. Joe when we return. Goats back with the ball near midfield. 2 to go until we hit the locker for halftime. Dylan Funk, Aaron Feely here with you. And Aaron, just how we had it, ball drawn up 12-9 with 2 to go in the first half. This has been a defensive game so far. Offenses have been sputtering. If the Goats can try to turn the tide here, and a great block. Able to get by is Dom Marshall as the Goats now in the red zone.
Yeah, obviously the exact game you anticipate seeing when you get a game between the #1 ranked offense in the league against the dead last ranked defense in the league, is that the Goats would only have 12 points to show for it. But sometimes that's just how it goes. Right there, though, able to get that screen off to Dom Marshall. He's been their best screen receiver on this season. He has been truly spectacular on that specific play. One of the great run after catch players in this league. We did have an injured Axemen. It looks like that is Devontae Tinsley running off the field. We got a big first down coming up here for St. Joseph. Thankfully, it's not goal to go, Dylan. So they are still allowed to score.
They can get it just about the 4-yard line. That would give them the fresh set of downs and even more room. Although, you look back to their success inside the 10-yard line last week, they went 0 for 2. Came up empty-handed on some offensive drives, so we'll see. Once the point's here and incomplete, going towards our man Chip on the PA mic. Great reflexes by Chip, and it's just an incomplete pass, 2nd down.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea of trying to get a 6'4" receiver in Isaiah Alston in a one-on-one scenario and putting it up high. Just unable to connect.
Martinez near the wall, trying to go back across his body and incomplete. So it could have been a completion, but that was Thomas Linear, the nose tackle, that's able to break up the pass.
Great play to get his hand out there. Probably wouldn't have gone for much, but it would have at least shortened up this 3rd down by a few yards.
Now it's 3rd and 10. Goes to Martinez again, tried to at least, and another one that's batted down for the Axemen.
Getting their hands up there, and I don't know. I mean, McCoy is trying to get him to go fast. I would almost argue that maybe it's time to slow down and think about this play. Get the right call out there, because right now the tempo not exactly going in your favor.
And back-to-back incompletions. Clock stopped at 1:25. Throws again, caught. but not going to be able to get the yardage needed.
Yeah, that's one where it almost looked like the play might have been designed for a lateral to Wilson after the catch. Instead, he tries to turn it upfield, and it was well played defensively by Eau Claire. Big tackle. And yeah, 1:17 to go. Eau Claire has a real opportunity here, Dylan, to go down the field. If they can put one offensive drive together, they could hold the lead at halftime.
And their lone touchdown drive was the final one in the first quarter, and that's where Malik Gaylord was able to scamper in the running lane for nearly about from midfield on and in for the touchdown. But since then, it has just been nothing outside of the 2 points earned on the safety by the defense on the drive after.
The drums begin here in St. Joseph, trying to get the fans on their feet for a huge defensive series.
And St. Joe will receive the ball to start the second half. A quick completion and caught, much needed there, Cinquay Grant. Going towards the final 60 seconds.
Yeah, that'll at least move the chains for them. You mentioned it, desperately needed there. Brilliant blitz, by the way, from Joko Willis, but receiver got himself open on the quick hitch. Just fast enough that Gaylord was able to get that ball out, and now they're going to, well, I thought they were going to go trips there for an interesting formation.
And the clock in the Arena League, it runs like a traditional football game. Under 2 minutes to go in the first and second halves of games. So out of bounds into the walls, the clock stopped at 1:05. Eau Claire can take the lead with the score. Harris motion back into the backfield. He'll go in and block. Pressure coming for the Goats, and they're going to get there. Stripped, whistles blow. They're going to call it a dead ball. Mike Reynolds celebrating a touchdown, but he's not going to get it. That was a quick whistle that came in. Morphel's the one that stripped it away, but it goes as a sack nonetheless.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the replay here and see if he was down. Maybe they called him in the grasp. Yeah, he was down. Knee on the turf, good call on the field. Upsetting for some St. Joe fans, but certainly looks like his knee was in that turf. Granted, that was just at regular speed. However, first glance, I would say, looks to be down.
Right. That stops the clock at 52 seconds. That's Dorsey Golston, the head coach of St. Joe, that's in there talking with the officials.
And it shouldn't stop the clock unless a timeout was used.
That's what I'm...
And there we go. Okay. Well, nonetheless, a huge third down here as the Goats could consider using a timeout should they make a stop.
Seconds melting away here for Eau Claire. Gaylord ready for the snap. Throws, caught. Cinquay Grant to the 20. Both teams do have 2 timeouts, and finally whistles will come in at 25 seconds to spare. The Axemen will go ahead, or is the Act, was it Eau Claire or is it St. Joe?
I'd imagine this would be the Goats.
I would
With 25 seconds remaining in the first half. It'll be a 30-second timeout.
I mean, just considering that it will be 4th down, you'd imagine this is a very high likelihood of a potential surrender, or at the very least, you've got a very good chance of a stop on a 4th and 9.
Well, they have the timeout taken off for Eau Claire, at least here on the video board in the arena. So yeah, it's going to go as 1 timeout left for the Axemen, still 2 for St. Joseph. And I don't know here. I mean, with the offensive struggles that the Goats have had, Aaron, if you're sitting on the side of Eau Claire, you're thinking, you know what? Let's try to go for it on 4th down. We get it. Great. If not, well, we'll trust our defense and the struggling St. Joe offense. Maybe they're not going to be able to get a score off before the final horn.
Well, obviously no field goals in the Arena League, so, I mean, your defense has kept them out of the end zone for the most part tonight. They have the 2 touchdowns, but in the Arena League, that's paltry offense. And now it will be a surrender. So they've changed their mind. We've got the Goat with the white flag up on the video board.
That is the 5th time we have seen that Goat in the second quarter. All drives in the second quarter ending via the surrender for Eau Claire. Now with 25 seconds and 2 timeouts to work with for Robert McCoy Jr. Let's see what he and this Goats offense can do. A little high and incomplete to P.J. Caldwell, trying to bring it in one-handed. Only 3 seconds erasing off the clock there.
Interesting that Eau Claire decided to crash their safety down. Richie Murphy came toward the line of scrimmage at the snap. There'll be one-on-one chances downfield.
Stepping up through a couple, now tries to get rid of it late. And it's an incompletion. The pressure getting home again for Eau Claire.
Once again, had opportunities, but that time it was the pressure got to him. If you're St. Joseph, you have to be keeping an eye on that. See if you can't launch a ball. And now you see some Eau Claire defenders backing up. We'll see what Murphy does at the snap. I mean, Martinez looking like he could be one-on-one. He is.
Steps up. McCoy was out of the runner's lane, so he gets a big play, but it's going to come back. Again, his first game playing here in the Arena League. You have to stay within the hash marks until you get past the line of scrimmage. Then that's when you can branch out. And that was not the case there for Robert McCoy. It's very certain this is going to be coming back.
As we take a look at the replay, well outside of those lines when he crosses the line of scrimmage. Would have been a very nice play, but yeah, as you mentioned, just not quite going to count. Only 7 seconds, though, so probably no surrender in play here. You're looking at 2 plays, and then it's halftime, one way or the other.
Have a chance, take a couple of shots down the field, and
they are moving the ball. They're going to say that he just barely was crossing that boundary line as he crossed the line of scrimmage. We'll take a look from the side view, perhaps, and see.
Yeah, we're going to see the look from the side here.
So it's the 15 is the line of scrimmage. When does he go outside the, if I'm Eau Claire, I might be asking for a second look at that if that's reviewable.
Well, I think that's what they're asking. He wants to throw the challenge flag, but I'm not sure if they can challenge or not. Now the challenge flag comes down just before the ball was snapped. Talking about taking every opportunity you can for this coaching staff of the Axemen, and they're going to take another look at this long scamper of Robert McCoy Jr.
Yeah, certainly looked even more egregious in live speed. Then we saw the replay, and it was closer, actually, than I would have thought. However, still definitely looked like he was outside the hash marks when he crosses that 15-yard line. We've got the official review coming, though, so we'll let those that get paid to make that decision
I mean, on that side view of the replay that we saw, it looked like right at about the 14.5-yard line is when he breaks out. Needed to stay in till the 15. And again, important to say, call on the field is that he stayed in the lane. So this has to be indisputable evidence to overturn the call. And we'll see if they have enough of it here. It's a great view.
Good work to our camera crew and production
Tremendous.
company as usual, but right there, I mean, he certainly looks outside the hash marks when he's at the 15. This looks like this might be coming back. But we wait for the official ruling.
No movement of the ball yet. No players retreating. Everybody's staying put.
Jeopardy music.
And again,
it was usual in the arena.
And again, it was one thing. They had the flag down initially, then they picked it up, moved the ball down, and the head coach for Eau Claire took literally all the way to the final 10th of a second that he could to throw the challenge flag. Right as he was making the motion to throw it on the turf, the ball was being snapped back. So very close to not even being able to challenge this. And they're still discussing it. We'll see if it's going to be a successful challenge or not. And all indications showed that if McCoy Jr. just stayed in the hash marks for another half yard, this would be a successful play. But again, call on the field is that he did stay in. So we'll see. We'll see if they change it or if they keep it with the call on the field.
I think what they're doing right now is they're just trying to radio this down. So they are overturning it, Dylan. They're bringing it back. They're going to enforce the foul from the 15. There will be 8 seconds remaining.
And the jeers and boos starting to rain down here in the Civic Arena. For a crowd in St. Joseph, maybe growing a little impatient, just waiting for a big play. They get one there, and it's taken off the board. And with 8 seconds left, both teams with 1 timeout remaining until halftime.
Well, big play potential still out there. Only 1 safety back for Eau Claire, and he's been keeping pretty tight to the center of the field. There will be one-on-one opportunities depending on how far you want to chuck this thing. If they can get protection back behind the play, you could get Martinez or Dom Marshall in a one-on-one. See if you can't just let them get a jump ball.
Let's see what they draw up. Heaving it from his own end zone, and it's going to be intercepted by Richie Murphy. The 3rd interception tonight from McCoy Jr. and a return. No time left, so to score here or not for Eau Claire on the lateral. And he is.
They're marking him at the 1.
They're going to say he's short at the 1-yard line.
I'm sure that's going to get some looks.
Oh, my goodness.
We've got a great angle of it that we'll take a look at on the replay here in a moment.
And they're saying first half is over. Interception by Murphy. Lateral it back to Ray Watson, who has 2 INTs tonight.
Let's take a look at the knee.
Oh my goodness.
This half might not be over just yet. Let's wait and see. They don't lose their challenge unless they lose the previous challenge. Since they won their last one, Eau Claire could throw this here. Here's another look at it.
St. Joseph is already in the locker room. Oh my goodness, Aaron.
That's a touchdown.
That looks like a touchdown, and I think we could very well see a challenge.
And it might be an absolutely free conversion. If they do throw the challenge flag, that is a touchdown.
Yet the Goats are already in the locker room.
Yeah, they'd have to go get the Goat. Now Eau Claire's heading to the locker room. They're not going to use their challenge flag.
I'm not sure if it's a case if they will use it or not. I think it's more
Can
they? And I don't think they can, just off the body language with that conversation with the officiating crew.
We've had a couple of tight plays that replay has turned into controversy in that exact corner over the last 2 weeks. The fumble as he ran into the door by a Nebraska receiver last week, called a touchdown, no challenge took place, and now we've got a potential touchdown for Eau Claire that will not be challenged. And so a play that was fumbled at the 1 last week, ruled a touchdown. No challenge from the coaching staffs. This time they've got a touchdown, not going to be challenged though, and so that's halftime.
Plenty to discuss and break down coming up at the halftime show when we return on the Arena League YouTube channel. It is a low-scoring game, to say the least. 12-9. St. Joe holding on to a lead.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
Garage beer saved my life. It's 30 years ago today. A lot of predators in this jungle.
Almost done.
St. Joseph, Missouri. Goats 12, Axemen 9. It's a traditional football score that you're used to seeing. Not used to seeing here in the Arena League. Low scoring, to say the least. And the number one offense in the Goats. Let's talk about here a little bit, Aaron. Third quarterback in the last 4 weeks, Robert McCoy Jr., and he has one touchdown pass to go with 3 interceptions. One there at the end, nearly a pick six to end it. Got to find a way for him and the Goats offense in general in that second half. Find a way to get back in rhythm. Just 12 points to show for it at halftime. That's not what this offense is used to doing.
No, this is, as we keep bringing up, the top offense in the league. They looked like the 99 Rams through the first couple of weeks of this season. They were unstoppable. And now they've had to adjust to a number of different quarterbacks under center week after week. And despite the fact these are good quarterbacks, veteran quarterbacks that have been around, in this case that have won 2 championships in the arena football world, it's just a matter of that chemistry. They don't have any right now because they have to continue to use different quarterbacks thanks to these injuries. They don't have Boo Smith this week. They've got a number of guys that they are adjusting to having new faces in the lineup in place of those guys. And yeah, you're looking at a 12-point game, and realistically a game that they should be losing at the halftime. That was, it's going to officially go down as a near pick six, but I think you and I were both in fairly decent agreement that that looked like that might have been a touchdown.
Definitely. Eau Claire tried to challenge. We're told that they couldn't, and they head to the locker room disgruntled to say the least, but only down by 3. In fact, the only points in that second quarter was on the Eau Claire safety. St. Joe held to 0 points, and on the flip side of that, for the Axemen, you're within 3 points multiple times, and all they were able to do on offense was surrender the ball. 5 straight drives via the surrender in that second quarter. We talking about the St. Joe offense need to find their stride. The Axemen desperately need to find their stride on offense as well.
Yeah, the only thing that they've really had going for them offensively was one Malik Gaylord run in which a St. Joe defender was out of position. Nasir Greer got himself way too far outside, opened up that running lane for the quarterback in a league where you have to stay within a lane. That came up big there right before the half as well, with the interesting didn't he step over by Robert McCoy. It ended up being challenged. Eau Claire won that. Comes back, penalty, no points before the half, allegedly. And then, yeah, that's been the story of this first half. Credit to the defenses for continuing to compete and really go hard down there. But right now it's 2 teams that both have to go into the locker room asking their quarterback, listen, we need you to lock in here in this second half.
We'll see if either can do it on the other side. We'll take a look at some highlights when we return to St. Joe. scoring of an affair as you can get here in the Arena League. 12-9, a 3-point lead for the hometown St. Joseph Goats. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the first half. A lot of defense, spoiler alert here. Almost started the game on what looked like a Nasir Greer pick six, but come to find it was trapped on the turf. So, nothing going there. Showing off the legs early, Robert McCoy Jr. We're starting to get into a rhythm. We'll quickly get out of that, though. A couple of sacks for St. Joe in this game. 3 to be exact. One of the nastiest plays, the nastiest in that first half, Aaron. How about the touchdown run here by Malik Wilson?
That was just incredible vision, great pure athleticism as well. Not a whole lot to break down there. That was just, look at this athlete be better than other people.
And also on the other side, Malik Gaylor, the quarterback, saying, I can do it with my legs as well. The lone touchdown tonight for the Axemen. Also had the 1-point try there as well. Ja'Kayla Jackson not touching him, so able to roll back with Sequay Grant. Ryan Martinez, welcome back to the end zone. That was a nice play to end the first quarter. But to the second quarter we go, and almost disaster across the board for both teams. That was the low points. The safety taken by Tyreek Mann in the Eau Claire defense. Here's another interception. This one going to be taken by Ray Watson. He has 2 picks, 2 of the 3 going to him, the other going to Richie Murphy. We'll see that coming up in a little bit. Talk about nastiness there. Some stiff arm run after the catch by Rashawn Benners. Goats offense back on the field. Again, been struggling all night. Here's the final play before half. So here's the interception by Murphy. He's going to have it on the return. We're going to see a lateral here coming up. Right there. Gutting it back. Watson looking for the edge. Has it. Martinez tripping him up. A dive there late. And eventually they say he was down at the 1-yard line. So no pick six to end the first half. And that is how the Goats hold on to a 12-9 lead. Drumline on the field. Entertain the fans here at halftime. We've got more coming to St. Joe when we return. Halftime score here in St. Joe is 12-9. Otherwhere around the Arena League, an important update. Up in Nebraska, it's the Iowa Roo, currently a 26-14 lead over the current top overall seed in the North Division and in the Arena League. Nebraska's seed, potential upset perhaps brewing up at Grand Island, Aaron.
Yeah, a potential for 2 upsets here if Eau Claire can come back and win. Both of the top seeds would have taken a loss. Both of the bottom seeds would have clawed their way back into this season, really. But for St. Joseph, if that score holds and you can cling on to this one, that is your path back to the 1 seed. Obviously, a rematch coming up later on this year against Nebraska. If they've got a loss against Iowa, you've got to feel rejuvenated if you're St. Joseph.
Even more reason to try to turn it around in the second half. We'll have some stats for you on the other side. Back with more on the Arena League YouTube channel.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
Come on, man. Let's get it.
Both teams back out on the field, getting stretched, ready to go for the second half. Here's some of the stats for you here at halftime, all in favor and advantage of St. Joe, despite only holding on to that 3-point lead. Of course, that one at the bottom, that's the one you don't want to be leading in. Turnovers, 3 for the Goats and none for Eau Claire. So for St. Joe, the favorites, the top team, doing everything almost in their power to go against them in this game so far. And about that pass rush for Eau Claire, and none for them so far. Even though they've been able to get pressure on Robert McCoy Jr., haven't been able to officially bring him down for a sack yet. We'll see if that changes in the second half.
Well, that might get adjusted later on because they obviously do have 1 sack. They sacked him for a safety earlier on in the game. But, yeah, obviously you can take a look at the statistics there. St. Joseph really should have a substantially higher lead than they do. The problem has just been lack of capitalizing on opportunities. And as you mentioned, Dylan, when you turn the ball over 3 times, that is the recipe to keep a team in the ball game with you that maybe shouldn't be. In the case of an 0-4 Eau Claire team, there's a plate full of potential excuses for St. Joseph, of course, with just the sheer amount of missing players from their roster. However, I don't think that's going to fly come standings time when they're all looking up at that one. And it's definitely not going to fly in the locker room for Coach Golston after the game either. He expects results, you know, regardless of the situation surrounding the game. And, yeah, right now only a 3-point lead. We're going to have to wait and see if they don't have a little bit more spark to them here in the second half.
Well, usually how it is in any football setting, it's a next man up mentality. Even though for St. Joe, you're down your starting quarterback in this game, you're without your number 1 receiver in Boo Smith, arguably your number 2 receiver in A.D. Ely. You still have Martinez, you still have Marshall out there, so you still got weapons, but when you're missing those caliber of names that I'm just mentioned, 3 of them on the offensive side of the ball, of course, that side is going to look a little bit different. Might take a little longer to get into rhythm or not. Right now, literally, I think it comes down to which team on offense figures it out first, who takes that first stride, gets that first score. Maybe that's going to be enough to propel them forward for the win. And of course, for Eau Claire, you know, you're looking at the history of these teams. I mean, they played 3 times last year, all 3 wins going to St. Joseph, and they won by an average margin of victory of 22 points a season ago. And Eau Claire, the overall record in their history, just 1-11. They're 0 for 4 this year. Everything to play for here, and really nothing to lose. That cannot be said on the same side for St. Joe. Plenty to lose in this game, and the longer and longer they continue to let the underdogs hang around, eventually you got to imagine it could come back to haunt them. We'll wait and see. Should be plenty of action in this second half. And what has been an uncharacteristic defensive slugout so far, I guess, 12-9 score. The only points in the second quarter coming off of that safety that Eau Claire got to bring them back within 3 and potentially a half-yard short of taking the lead on a first-half inning pick 6 are the Axemen. And you know they weren't really happy about that, Aaron. So let's see if they come out with some fire in their bellies and try to take out some frustration on the Goats as they're going to get the ball back first to start the second half, and we'll see the offense out first as well.
New return man back there, Kingston Oliver for St. Joseph. They're going to try their 5th different returner in 5 games.
And Kingston Oliver, 5'10", 175 pounds, out of St. Joseph, Missouri, the local product. Making his Goats debut tonight, did not appear in that first half, but he'll have a chance to make an impact here out of the gates as the throw-off is underway. He brings it at about the 6, has a lane, almost tumbles. He does to a degree, but almost fell down, but keeps his footing to go past the 20 and gives McCoy Jr. and company good starting field position.
Yeah, great return there for the ex-Lafayette Fighting Irish here in St. Joseph in Oliver. Love that nickname as a Notre Dame fan, but one of the bigger high schools here in St. Joe had a great cutback on that return. Gives the Goats a golden opportunity from the 22, just around midfield, and like you said, big opportunity for McCoy and co.
Wilson, being patient, had that highlight-worthy touchdown in the first half as he'll get piled up, driven backwards, almost no gain. Maybe just give him a yard, so 2nd and 9 coming up.
Nice cut just to make sure he got something out of it, but yeah, not a great deal of space there.
TJ Caldwell, the leading receiver for St. Joseph, with 6 in that first half. On the far side, there's Dom Marshall, extracurriculars after that play, shoving. That's Richie Murphy for Eau Claire. Both were kind of pushing and shoving on one another. Marshall got the last word.
I love the design of this, the pump fake of the original screen and then throw it to the second guy downfield.
Now just pitches it forward as he was being tracked behind by multiple Axemen, and it goes incomplete to the area of Isaiah Alston.
But going back to that screenplay, well designed coming out of the half. And then, yeah, that second play on 1st and 10, just too much pressure right off the bat. Good deal to just get rid of it.
Martinez, the motion man. There's Alston. Trying to break a couple of tackles, gets slung down, awkward falling to the turf. There for the tackle, number 21, Willie McCaleb out of Mulberry, Florida, for Eau Claire. Patented hurry-up offense here for St. Joe, a 3rd and short. Into the hands of Martinez, and
that's going to be tight.
Going to be close for sure.
I don't know why he hopped backward. That might have cost him the first down. Looks like it did.
Goats down 3 for 5 on 3rd down. This is 4th and short. Staying in the running lane. McCoy Jr. He barrels his way in for the touchdown.
So a pair of quarterback rushing touchdowns in this ball game. This one all McCoy. 1 per team, and take a look at this. All the way it's a quarterback draw. Look at him pound through 2 Axemen there at the back end of it. And McCoy, huge statement drive coming out of the halftime break, and the Goats take a 2-possession lead.
Just exactly what they wanted to do. Now for their first successful point after a try, kind of bobbled it in the air, and it just looked awkward from the very start. And it goes incomplete, and another unsuccessful point after a try, but that does stretch the Goats' lead up to 9.
Yeah, huge play right there, regardless of the conversion, to take the possession, turn it up to a 2-possession lead. All started with that great return. You mentioned it, the local product, Kingston Oliver, maybe just earned himself the permanent role. I mean, they've been rotating through returners all season. And then a huge quarterback run there. Still a little baffled by Martinez's decision to catch that thing beyond the stick and go backwards to bring up the 4th down, but maybe he just knew. Maybe he knew, you know what, if I can get us to run this quarterback draw, that's going to be a great play. Maybe that was some 4D chess out of Ryan Martinez there, Dylan.
Catching the defense off guard, you get McCoy Jr. the chance to get the score, get that confidence, that rhythm going. Maybe, we'll see. Kalen Jackson avoiding the Raptors this time as he throws down to Devon Harris as he'll attempt to return. And taking some bodies with him to the 20-yard line. Now the pressure on Eau Claire as their offense will trot back on, led by Malik Gaylor. No passing touchdowns that first half, but he did have the rushing touchdown. Came close to a couple of interceptions, but was able to avoid them. Both of them would have been for pick sixes if the Goats defenders were able to hold on and or keep it off the turf. Now let's see what him and the rest of this offense come out with to start. 5 straight drives ended via the surrender in the second quarter. Now back down by 2 scores. End around play. Renner's ball on the turf. Loose, and it looks like St. Joe has it. And they do. It's James Bell on the recovery.
They had a few opportunities to not come up with that ball, but they got it. Huge hit, jarred that thing out of the hands of Benners. It was a good play initially. Look at this, defensively played it well, but whoop, cuts inside Benners, but he just couldn't hold on to the ball. Nice sliding play as well by James Bell. And yeah, he just got a little loose with it.
Darius Lorefield's the man to help punch it out on the tackle. And now quickly the Goats offense back on the field. If they can get another touchdown here, it could maybe start to run away in this second half. As McCoy Jr. trying to do it with his legs again, he gets past the 20 into the 21.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of now going to these designed plays up the middle where you know he's going to be able to cross that line of scrimmage in those run lanes. He's a good runner. Might as well take advantage of it.
A little awkward shot put throw. He didn't quite get a hold of the laces, but able to muscle it forward to Isaiah Alston. Minimal gain, it's 3rd medium.
They got to 3rd down quickly there as the first play was well defended. I'd almost like to see him go back to the quarterback draw here, even though it is 3rd and medium.
The throw, Alston again into Axemen territory, but not enough to keep the chains moving. Needed to get to the 21.
Well, I said it on the previous play, but on 4th and 1, you can bet I'm running it back. I would really like to see him use his legs here on this play. Oh, he's not going to need to.
Now flags are going to come down.
Unless a Goat moved that I didn't have my eyes on, that looked like a couple of Axemen jumped offside pretty cleanly.
Had a play like this similar in the first half. It ended up being a false start. This time it'll be an offsides. And on 4th and short, the Goats get the free 5 yards.
I'm curious if someone didn't bring up to the Goats in the halftime locker room that Iowa was doing their dirty work for them in Nebraska tonight.
Yeah, last we checked,
they look rejuvenated in the second half.
Last we checked, a 2-score lead for the Woo up in Grand Island. We'll be keeping an eye on that all throughout tonight. Nice catch by Martinez up against the wall as he's near the 10.
Another awkward delivery. Kind of had to release that before he could get a firm grip on the ball. But again, I mean, it was pinpoint. Came out wobbly, but it got right where it needed to.
Into the red zone go the Goats. McCoy Jr. end zone shot and bobbled, and it is, well, I think it's going to go incomplete.
Yeah, it depends on if they're ruling that hit the bleachers or just popped up.
Again, if it goes off the top of the wall, the boundaries, it is still considered a live ball, but did it hit the bleachers in the back? And yeah, it definitely did. It looked like it hit the camera guy, yeah.
We must have a really good shot of that one.
Quickly, another throw to the end zone, and another one that goes incomplete. Man, this Goats offense, they go quick with their hurry up. Heads up. How about that camera shot right there, man? Not flinching a bit. Kudos to the man down in the back of the end zone on camera.
Put that one in slow motion, get some NFL Films music over it. That's going to be the perfect spiral in the air shot. It's right at the camera.
Another empty throw, so 4th down to go. Martinez dial his number up, and 5 will have the Goats at the 5.
Big time drive from Ryan Martinez here. That moves the chains, but this has been their Achilles heel inside the 5. Goal to go.
5th catch tonight for Martinez. 1 touchdown, and the Goats are now 3 for 3 on 4th down tries. Wilson cutting it back. Oh, he goes over the wall and out of play.
Oh, good. He hopped up. He's good to go. He went through the door. So that is the exact spot on the wall where Eau Claire's sideline door is to allow players on and off the field. And that is a rough place to make full force contact with because it is the one designed to open up like that. He ended up in some chairs, but look at him bounce up. The defenders can't hurt him. The wall can't hurt him. The concrete can't hurt him. He is unstoppable here in the red zone tonight. Give it to him again.
A+ call again by the one and only Eric Feely. Time stop for it. They got to make sure that wall is structured and all ready to go. And just thank goodness Malik Wilson getting up okay, up on his own power, adrenaline pumping. He might feel good now on the way home tonight when he gets into bed. He might be a little bit sore, but still good to see he gets up all good. Really don't see him out on the field for this upcoming play.
No, they had to take him off because of that play, unfortunately. Wouldn't hate to see quarterback run.
Martinez deep in the backfield. He's going to try to run it. And great defense here by Eau Claire. And Ray Watson with a couple of INTs gets a great tackle on Ryan Martinez. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns this season.
And then back behind the play, we had a little extracurriculars between Richie Murphy and the new St. Joseph Goat, Isaiah Alston. Ultimately doesn't come to much other than some flexing, pushing, and shoving, but we got another piece of the wall knocked back as a result.
3rd and goal at the 4. Pressure rolls to his right and high and out of the reach, and it's 4th down.
He had his man James Bell, but was forced to roll the opposite direction. He couldn't get his eyes back around to see his man in the flats. An all-out blitz from Eau Claire, and a big 4th down for both of these teams. For St. Joe, a chance to really put your foot down on the Axemen's necks, and for the Axemen, a chance to climb back into it.
Started the game 2 for 2 on 3rd downs, 0 for 6 since, but they are 3 for 3 tonight on 4th downs. Are the Goats. A 4th and goal play at the 4.
Look who's back in the game, Dylan.
Wilson in the backfield. They don't go his way to the end zone. Ryan Martinez is there. Touchdown. His 2nd of the night.
Oh, and they're going to need to get in there. All right, they get Murphy out of there, but the Goats decided as part of the celebration to surround Richie Murphy, and you just can't have that after the play a couple of plays ago.
No.
Thankfully, the official was very quick to get in there, but what a catch. I'm not sure that we have the angle here to show the bobble, but oh, right here. He almost loses it over the wall, but catches it on the ricochet. Off of his own hands, back into his own hands for the touchdown, and then the celebration that had to be broken up quickly. Huge play for St. Joe.
Energy is high in that St. Joe sideline right now. Wilson, nasty cut, penalty flag down. He's going to come up short. And unless this is going to be a penalty against Eau Claire, we'll get another crack at it.
So we'll take a gander at what the penalty was. And it was against St. Joe, so not going to matter. Heck of an effort, though, from Wilson that wouldn't have mattered even if he scored. That took his own teammate, P.J. Caldwell, accidentally tripping him up to get him on the ground. He is playing inspired football as the primary tailback of a team that we have mentioned multiple times on this broadcast. Some of the other broadcasts for these road games have brought it up as well. St. Joseph has not gotten the run game going.
No.
It has been a weakness of their offense all season. A primary part of that has been that they built their team on skill positions. They don't supply offensive linemen. They wanted more speed. They've got one tight end. He plays center for them. Other than that, it's a lot of receivers. That's a huge part of it. Wilson looks like a guy who has heard that noise and is taking it personally. He is putting their rushing attack on his own back in tonight's ball game.
24-9, now the lead for St. Joe. Harris on the return, again, not going to make it to the 20-yard line. And another thing to add on it to wrap up that thought on Malik Wilson, within the last couple of weeks, I mean, he's been a receiving threat as well. 15 receptions and 4 receiving touchdowns combined. So with the running game pairing him with becoming a threat through the air as well, it's another great piece to have here for St. Joe, particularly on a night like tonight where they guard a little short-handed. Ryan Martinez starting to emerge, 6 catches, 2 of those were touchdowns. Put his stamp on this game as the Goats offense looking rejuvenated, like you mentioned earlier, partner, in the second half. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Pressured throw, caught, bobbled, picked! James Bell, a fumble recovery and a ricochet interception.
That's one of those where we said it earlier, don't make a bad play worse. Not that you'd ever tell a receiver, just swat the ball down and drop it, but there are certain instances where it's just not worth it. Even if you catch this ball, it's a loss of 2. Nothing good came of it. Just go ahead and smack that one down, big fella. Instead, it's a turnover, hung up just long enough for Bell to come back to it. Huge play, and man, this second half has been big for St. Joseph.
You can say that again. And a chance to continue to build on their lead. Open, Marshall. Down to the 5-yard line.
Hold on to the ball, big fella. Had a little bit of a loss of grip on it, but he held on, managed to keep it all the way for another first down and goal, but a flag back behind the play.
For now, it's the 4th catch in the game for Marshall, but a hold against the Goats. It's going to wipe it off the board.
So not going to matter. There was a good read there from McCoy. Saw Marshall off the cornerback blitz. Got him the ball right in that window. It's probably the best layered throw we've seen other than the long touchdown to Martinez in the first quarter.
Low snap handled nicely, P.J. Caldwell. Back with another catch, his 7th. He's the lead receiver so far on total catches for the Goats. Gets him near the original line of scrimmage, right at the original line of scrimmage.
And I like that effort after the catch. Wasn't a great deal of space to make a big play, but to just get those yardage that you need to make that a more manageable down and distance.
Couple of spin cycles and able to spill his way past the 10-yard line, Isaiah Alston.
Now it's going to be a 3rd down and short. Watch the legs of McCoy and potentially Wilson as he lined up in the backfield. Obviously, though, looking like he's going to be up at the line of scrimmage.
Move the ball. They had it spotted at the 10 originally. They move it up a yard to the 9. Those need to get to the 6 for the fresh set of downs. Martinez against the wall, and play will be stopped there.
That was well read right off the bat by Devontae Tinsley. Loss of a yard for Martinez. He's actually been playing those screens incredibly well. He's been paying attention to his film. He's jumped pretty much every single one of them tonight.
7 straight failed 3rd down conversions for the Ghosts. They've been coming up money on 4th down, though, and it's going to continue. Ryan Martinez, touchdown number 3.
Ryan Martinez with Boo Smith and a host of others out. Going back to that first year here in St. Joe, becoming the big play guy. Look at that. Cuts in front of his own offensive teammate. The sea of hands, Dylan, and it's Martinez keeping the momentum on the side of the Goats.
Looking for the point after try, and no good as it skips in on the turf.
Heck of a sales job there, attempted by Isaiah Alston. However, did skip in there. 30-9, though, still a 21-point advantage for St. Joseph, who are just seemingly in cruise control here in the second half now.
3 straight scoring drives, a rushing touchdown for Robert McCoy Jr., and back-to-back drives ending in a receiving touchdown for Ryan Martinez.
And now the real question is going to be for Eau Claire. Do you have any means to replicate any sort of offensive drive. I mean, the only thing they've gotten going was Malik Gaylord's legs. Is there a way that you can manufacture something there? The passing game just is not opening up for you.
They scored that touchdown, 5 straight surrenders, a fumble, and an INT to follow it.
They need to find a way to maybe get those plays designed. Try to get some intentional QB runs going into this offense. Maybe get some motions across, misdirections, run some QB power. It's hard to do on a true counter play when your quarterback is restricted within the running lane, but you got to try something. That's your best offense right now, because unless he's just going to lock in here going forward, the passing game's just not there. It really hadn't been there all season. Completion percentage under 50%. You got to come up with something to move the football. Otherwise, this thing's going to become a laugher real fast.
They had their leading receiver last week, Joshua Murray, not active tonight. Had 7 catches, 80 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's not even out there tonight. It's been a rough night for this offense for sure. And they start out here with an incompletion. Pressure coming for St. Joseph.
And that's a big part of it as well, is there's almost a certain amount of disrespect in this alignment for St. Joseph. They are coming right up to the line of scrimmage. They know your top receiver isn't playing tonight, and they're just playing press one-on-one, and they're blitzing, and they're saying, if you beat us, you beat us. And to this point, they haven't gotten beat.
Little tomahawk shot making its way up north to St. Joseph, Missouri. Gonna be home to the Chiefs here coming up in a little over a month or so. Over the middle, another incompletion. Back-to-back to start this third drive in the second half for the Axemen, down 21.
And Nasir Greer and Shaquai Grant might as well have been sharing a jersey on that pass. Perfect coverage again. And you just know this is making the ex-DB Coach Golston very happy indeed.
0 for 8 are the Axemen tonight on third down. They face a 3rd and 10 here from their own 5-yard line. The energy getting louder and louder here inside the Civic Arena. Renner's the motion man. Pressured, hit, intercepted.
That's 6.
Touchdown, St. Joseph. And a pick 6 for Ja'Kalen Jackson. It's a rout here in the second half for St. Joe.
That is the absolute last thing you could have afforded. It looked like he might have been kind of throwing this off the back foot. We've got a replay of it. As he hits that back foot, pressure gets in his face, and he just kind of heaves it in the direction of his receiver. Not usually a recipe for success, especially against a defense that plays as soundly as St. Joe does this year. And yeah, this thing has gotten away from the Axemen in a hurry.
Looking more like the St. Joseph team we expected to see tonight. Into the end zone, in the air, picked on the point try after again by Richie Murphy. He's got his second takeaway, but it almost doesn't matter. It's hard to believe the Goats haven't converted a point after try yet tonight, and they look up and they're leading 36-9.
Kind of the story of their season offensively.
Really,
they have been really, really good, except on conversions. Richie Murphy plays the ball in the air well, been doing that all night. Oscar Scott gives him a little hug, lets him know it's going to be okay.
So the Goats appear to be back on track here in St. Joseph. We'll take another look in, give a scoring update up in Grand Island. Last we checked, it was a 2-score lead for the Iowa Woo over the Nebraska Siege. We'll try to take another look at that. Of course, important to Goats fans here because Nebraska, with the win last week, currently hold the 1 seed by a game in the North Division. So if St. Joe's able to get a win, Nebraska takes a loss. It's back at square one. And the Goats going to have a rematch with the Siege coming up in a couple of weeks. Penalty flag is down. Right now it's a return just past the 20-yard line. And looking in live right now, it is 32-14 Iowa. So continuing to build the lead on the Woo up in Grand Island. And everybody here in the Civic Arena right now, for the folks watching here on the YouTube channel at home, big fans of the powder blue of St. Joe and the teal of the Woo. That is quite a development working on right now up in Grand Island, Nebraska.
Also, just a shout out just for around the league. Got some good games this week here, Dylan. If you're paying attention to what's been going on in the South Division, battle for first place in that division this week. Memphis. Yeah, that one's a 4-point game starting the third quarter.
Tremendous.
42-38. We got great action here in the Arena League.
Right now, for the Goats, all eyes, all attention on these Eau Claire Axemen. Low coverage over the middle, caught by Harris. Able to sidestep a man, looking for the one-play score, and Harris, close to the goal line, will be down just short. All the way down to the one goes Eau Claire.
So that's something that they were able to generate. Seeing the St. Joseph blitz, they had the perfect call to beat it. The running back doesn't even bother chipping, just release. Fast as you can, get out there, get open. Obviously, a defender slipping also helps. And now we'll see how big of a deal this tackle is going to be. Are they able to make a goal line stand, or can Eau Claire finally punch back here in the second half and get some points?
Goal to go at the one.
Remember, no quarterback run inside the 5.
Running back run, that's perfectly okay as Harris dives, but can't break the plane.
That should do it for the third quarter.
And now Eau Claire will take the walk back, try to punch it in on the other end of the field. Pours up in St. Joseph, Missouri. 36-9, the Goats turn it on in the third quarter, open up their lead. Getting started here, 36-9. 3 straight scoring drives for the St. Joe offense, including a pick 6 on the defensive end as well. But the Axemen currently have second and goal from about the half-yard line, so a chance for Eau Claire to answer, show some fight like what we were talking about, and maybe potentially could turn this game around.
And for the St. Joseph Goats, don't think that this is something that they're just going to, all right, we got a 36-9 lead. Let's see what happens. I mean, this is going to be a huge staple of pride for Coach Golston, for this St. Joe defense. They really want to make this stop and pitch a shutout in the second half. It's important to them.
In a goal-to-go opportunity, it's second down. Still some downs to work with here for Eau Claire. Renner's in motion, throwing it, Gaylor to the end zone, and it's dropped incomplete. It's an easy 6 points there, but bobbling and not able to come up with the catches. Eldridge Joyce, the tight end.
Well, and a huge, a bit of additional help from James Bell. Look at him come in there.
Oh, he did get a piece of it.
Perfectly timed swipe at that ball. That is brilliant defense. 15's been balling out there here tonight.
A fumble recovery, an interception, and now a pass breakup. Tremendous stuff.
Not even going to show the possibility of a run here. That's interesting from this there we go.
Up the middle, Goats are there, pitching it back. Gaylor has to pick it up now, fires to the end zone and wide open for the touchdown. It's going to be Cinquay Grant. Oh my goodness.
Well, that's the hard way to do it, but the perfectly legal way. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, get points on the board. Blown up on the run, the pitch goes nowhere, but then he looks up and says, hey, look what I found. He might go buy a lottery ticket after the game. Luck's not been spectacular up until this point, but that was a turnaround in his luck department. And now they'll go for 2.
First touchdown pass time for Gaylord. He has a passing and a rushing touchdown. First catch. Second catch, first touchdown for Cinquay Grant. Now the 2-point try. Make it 36-17. Batted away by Reynolds. That's going to go as an incomplete pass. A loud thud echoing throughout the chambers here inside the Civic Arena. The Gravedigger makes a big play.
Huge play there. Pass rush of St. Joseph getting it done once again. As he'll toss a souvenir up into the crowd.
Nice hands.
A fan in a goat jersey showing off his own skills. Making a nice catch. Yeah, that St. Joseph team, regardless of who they send out to play quarterback any given week, you know one of the consistent things that they are going to show you every single week is a pass rush that you are going to leave the arena thinking about. They have been phenomenal each and every one of these games. And yet another game in which they're showcasing that. 36-15, piling it on to Eau Claire, getting the ball back for their offense.
We're still just a few moments in this fourth quarter, so not quite to the territory of going to start going for 4th and 20s if you're Eau Claire, but your defense definitely need to come up with some stops. They try to get back into this ball game. Back down 21 points, and the Goats will start with the return getting just past its 10-yard line. Kingston Oliver on the return once again. I found an interesting nugget about Kingston Oliver coming into this game. You mentioned a man out of Lafayette High School nearby here in St. Joe. He holds the Missouri high school record for most receiving yards in a single game. He put it up in 2021, 398 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns in a single game. That's still the all-time Missouri high school record as of this game here tonight, as that goes incomplete off the fingertips of Malik Wilson.
Yeah, and obviously not exactly a small task. Missouri produced a number of NFL wide receivers. A lot of running backs actually come out of the state of Missouri. A lot of running backs out of the St. Louis area that end up at Notre Dame somehow. We're not sure how that keeps happening.
Caldwell to the 15 and up against the wall. Wrapping up on Oliver. He was the #1 receiver in his class of 2022 out of the state of Missouri. Spent some time in Oklahoma, then went over to William Penn University and now has made his way here. He is now a St. Joe Goat. 3rd down and 8 on the last completion to Caldwell. Quick rollout, heads up by McCoy, and he finds his man open again. PJ Caldwell getting close to double-digit catches tonight.
Yeah, he's been spectacular. He's been the comfort receiver for McCoy. You mentioned earlier, too, more on that record from Oliver. Really tough to do when you're able to beat any high school record set by Doriel Green Beckham, guy that maybe didn't necessarily have the greatest NFL career, but those of us that were in the area, I mean, that was a dude coming out of high school. Obviously ended up at the University of Missouri. Huge career for him.
Last sack, taking a snap in midfield. Wilson able to handle it. through the air, lowers the shoulder, gets close to the 10 before he's pinned up to the wall.
You talked about his threat out of the backfield. Malik Wilson made a nice catch there. That wheel route has done some damage for this Goats offense in the last few weeks. Makes third down a lot more manageable.
Got a third and medium. Quick catch for Martinez. Immediately met over on that far side against the wall.
I think it's safe to say Eau Claire has started to look for those quick hitches. That didn't get very far, and they were breaking on it extremely quickly.
That's going to bring up 4th and short. Call it 4th and 2. And again, Eau Claire coming early. It's a free play for the Goats. They're going to go for it all, and Martinez with the catch. He was pinned up against the wall by Watson. They're going to call him down there at about the 2. Again, this should be 5 yards against Eau Claire in a free play.
Now, obviously would have blown the play dead had it been a false start. So shouldn't be a great deal of discussion here. Martinez, another nice catch. He's been a good contested catch ball receiver here tonight. And now we'll see if St. Joseph can't do something to pound the ball in on a 1st and goal situation. Love to see this just go right to Wilson.
Caught by Wilson. Touchdown, St. Joseph. 4 straight scoring drives on offense in the second half.
42-15. Let's see, Dylan. Could we see a conversion for the St. Joe Goats in tonight's ball game? Heck of a play there again, Malik Wilson. And just as we said it, get the ball in his hands quickly. Let him get the dirty yards for you. Now, big 1-point conversion here for St. Joe.
For the first conversion of the game, and we're going to have to wait a little longer. Another pick, and again, it's Watson. He's been a ball magnet in that secondary. Took kind of an awkward collision with Oscar Scott, but nonetheless, another score for the St. Joe offense. That's 4 straight for them in the second half. Getting off the schneid that they were in that second quarter with that safety, interception, and then a surrender, 2 interceptions in that second quarter. It's been quite an answer, quite a turnaround in this second half. Great halftime adjustments made by Coach Golston and company, the rest of the coaching staff for St. Joseph. Taking a look at what these teams got coming up. Everybody off next week. It's the 4th of July bye week, so we're down to just 3 games left in the regular season after this game here tonight. St. Joe is back here at home. It's going to be a Friday game, July 10th against Iowa, and then back at Grand Island on July 18th. That's the following Saturday at Nebraska, and then they'll see these Eau Claire action one more time on July 25th. Again, for all your tickets here for the St. Joseph Goats, you can get them at stjgoatsfootball.com.
And that game against Iowa, as we're learning today,
could be interesting.
Gotta definitely keep your eyes open and pay attention leading up to that one. They got 2 weeks to prep for it.
Looks like Zweifel in there on the tackle. You also have P.J. Caldwell. And, you know, Aaron, history will also tell you a Goats Blue game is just, it's must-see sports television, really.
That has been the history of it to this point. They played once earlier on this season. It went fairly lopsidedly in the Goats' favor. Trujillo played in that game. He is hoping to play in it this second time. I apologize. That was actually the first game he missed. So he is hoping to participate in that game for round 2. Obviously, Iowa giving Nebraska all they can handle here tonight.
If both scores hold up here in St. Joseph and up in Grand Island, we can end the night with the Goats in the siege. Knotted up again as the top 2 teams in the standings in the North Division and on top of the Arena League. Look out. Incomplete. Hard ricochet off the bleachers, comes back into the field of play. Intended receiver, I'm going to say the sideline sweep.
Yeah, that was kind of a pretty good summary of the Eau Claire night offensively. Cornerback blitz comes, puts some pressure on the quarterback. Your man is wide open. He's just waiting for the quick screen. Replace the blitz with the throw. And the wide open receiver missed well high. Obviously succumbing a bit to the pressure there.
And knowing that Gaylord has struggled with his completion percentage, one of 2 quarterbacks under 50% on the season, and that's continued here tonight. Has not helped his offense by any means, as that one incomplete. Able to get his hands on it, Cinquay Grant, who had the touchdown just a few moments ago for Eau Claire, but not able to bring that one in.
Yeah, Ja'Kalen Jackson makes a good play to break that one up, but another pass well behind his receiver. This needs to be a first down. He is well past Jackson on his route, gets open from the snap. He's got his hand up in the air, and the pass is just behind him.
3rd down and 10. I imagine at this territory of the game, if you wanted to stay competitive, try to get back in it, they're probably going to be going for it on 4th down, I would imagine. We'll see. See what they can do with on 3rd and 10. Down the field, open again is Grant, and into the breadbasket, a touchdown for Eau Claire.
They needed that desperately. Probably should have been on the previous play, but this time they make it happen. A beautiful ball this go around finds its way into the hands of Grant for a touchdown. Nice move, by the way, on the outside. Gets himself open, fakes like he's running another post, but then breaks it straight vertically, and he is just well past his defender. That was Joko Willis, who's played a good game, but usually they use him more inside the box. He's a lot more dangerous as a blitzer than he is as a one-on-one cover man against your top receiver.
Back-to-back drives on offense via the score of Gaylord throwing through the air to Cinquay Grant. Another 2-point try. Got to have it here for the Axemen to the end zone, and through the hands, incomplete. The 6'6" target, Eldridge Joyce, over the wall on his own sideline, and the conversion will be no good.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like maybe that play was more intended for the rub to really be what opened somebody up. You had those 2 crossing patterns going from the offensive right toward the left. Probably intended to try to sneak big number 13 Joyce across the other way, but St. Joe just didn't buy it. They had 2 guys over there waiting for him. Nobody got open from that route. And then it just became, well, then I might as well give a 6'6" guy a jump ball. Unfortunately, just took him right over the top of the wall.
Mentioned this upcoming schedule for St. Joseph for Eau Claire on the 11th of July. They'll be home against Nebraska, the 18th on the road at Iowa, and then that last week of the regular season at home against St. Joseph. 2 of the next 3 going to be at home for the Axemen. And coming in as far as their hopes of trying to keep the season alive, really needed a win here tonight. Staring down the barrel of going 0-5 and getting closer and closer to almost sudden elimination from potential postseason play. So something for them to keep in mind as the season goes along. As another one goes up into the rafters. You know, we talked about the All-Pro defense in the video board last week. Aaron, how about the All-Pro defense in the rafters here tonight?
It is the shortest ceiling in the Arena League. We have asked around and made sure about that. So it is something that a lot of visiting teams have to kind of contend with and adjust to. It would be something I would very much recommend more teams work on in pregame. You don't really see a lot of guys working their throw-off in the pregame warm-ups. When you come here specifically, I definitely would advise it.
Quick dump off to start this drive to Alston, able to get up a couple of yards. I've seen some teams work around the video board, but not necessarily the rafters, so it comes and goes, I guess. Wilson making a cut. And that's going to be enough for the first set of downs as he gets past the 15-yard line.
I would let him touch the ball as many times as he would like to. He is cooking here tonight.
4th catch and already has a receiving and a rushing touchdown. Alston, good open field tackle.
Love to get the big lengthy receiver. Nice high pass just over the hand of the defenders, and sometimes 6'4" can buy you some receptions, Dylan.
Has found his stride in the second half in his Goats debut. Wilson, hard hit against the wall. Cut down underneath. Number 21, Willie McCaleb on the stop for the Axemen.
So now a nice big 3rd down.
Gervais over the middle. Alston again, just alternating between him and Malik Wilson right now as he gets it inside the 5, just a couple yards shy of Bader.
Yeah, he's lined up as the right tight end, fakes like he's in there in pass pro, and then cuts it right across the middle for sort of a middle screen. Love the design.
Trying to go to Wilson to keep the pattern, but Eau Claire, they were definitely ready for it that time.
I'm not sure if St. Joseph is going to necessarily break out all of their best secret plays at this point with the score being what it is. Might see some repetitive play calling with this specific score now.
Open was Martinez, and maybe I think he was trying to go that way. It goes incomplete, almost intercepted. Maybe just some mistiming, miscommunication there between McCoy Jr. and Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez says it's his fault, so we'll take a gander here. Might have been intended to just be a hitch, and he was just carrying it toward the end zone.
They're down in 5. Wilson in the open field, nasty cut. Touchdown, St. Joseph.
Oh my goodness. Malik Wilson, a disgusting cut to the outside, robbed a man of his ankles in broad daylight. Now he's gonna pose with the football right afterwards. Look at him steal that man's ankles right in front of his family, Malik.
And let him know it all the way into the end zone. 3rd touchdown tonight for Wilson, 2nd via the receiving. Martinez, the end zone, Alston, bubbled, incomplete. And another point after try. No good, but the score is still in favor of the Goats as they lead 48-21, under 4 minutes to play in regulation.
How badly does St. Joseph want to convert one conversion today? They're breaking out the double passes. Ryan Martinez comes all the way back across the field, gets a very nice, perfectly legal block from Oscar Scott. He then went up to the official afterwards and triple and quadruple checked. Hey, did you see my block? It was definitely legal, wasn't it? And Martinez just kind of floated the ball up to his big receiver, Alston. Couldn't quite make the catch after the bobble. So it remains all 6s for St. Joe as they've ticked that score up today.
Swag surf is in full effect in the Civic Arena. Some fans with the big score, happy to see as maybe some people might be heading out early, get a head start on the traffic. Under 4 to go, 48-21. St. Joe, a much better feeling late in the 4th quarter this week than it was a week ago. And another nice open field tackle, Mojo Sawifel. He's been all over the place, particularly on the throw-off coverage team. Making his 2026 debut here for St. Joe.
Yeah, for a league with no kicking, it's very rare that you're talking too much about special teams play. But they might have to create a Special Teams Player of the Week award for Marcus Sawifel. Mojo's been killing it out there tonight.
The time desperately not on the side of Eau Claire. Pretty much from here on out, they need a couple of one-play drives that end in scores and some successful tries after, as their hopes getting slimmer and slimmer as we go along. Pressure, another batted ball, Nasir Greer. Nicely done by Nasir.
This has to be the highest number of batted balls at the line of scrimmage we've seen in a Goats game all season, Dylan.
Safe to say.
They have been ridiculous getting into the face of Gaylord. He just hasn't been able to find a throwing lane over the top of him. Now, Gaylord, not necessarily the tallest quarterback in the league, listed at 5'10", so that can play a role in it.
Barely towards the 2-minute warning in the 4th and final quarter. A lot of happy fans here in the Civic Arena. Late motion coming here for the Axemen. Brenner's the last man as will be thrown and incomplete. Definitely looked like Zawifel getting tangled up with one of the receivers. Looked like Eldridge Joyce. For Eau Claire, the penalty flag was thrown, and that's going to be a pass interference on St. Joseph.
And not necessarily a bad matchup to try to go to. Mojo listed at 5'9", and he's one-on-one with a 6'6" receiver. However, pressure got into his face, forced an underthrow. And the underthrow, at the very least, draws him a penalty. You take a look at the replay.
Penalty number 8 tonight for St. Joe. Yeah.
We'll let you be the judge.
Definitely some hand contact, hand fighting, and looked like Mojo just got the most of it there, and that is the 2-minute warning here in the fourth quarter. 48-21, St. Joe looking to wrap it up on their 4th win of the season against Eau Claire when we return.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
Come on, man. Let's get it.
Final 2 to play in St. Joseph's. The Goats 48, Axemen 21. Week 5 action rounding up. All teams headed to the bye next week for the 4th of July weekend. Goats looking to be on their way with a win as the ball's thrown in the air and just over the outstretched fingertips of Ja'Kalen Jackson, and it's a touchdown for Brian Smith.
Yeah, 11 covering 11 there. Couldn't quite get the job done, and Smith, just a straight vertical route here. Looked like maybe Ja'Kalen Jackson had his eyes a little bit too much on the backfield in the quarterback. He's not in phase. You never really want to be looking at the quarterback when you're already beat. Obviously playing all out for the interception, but got to get back in phase before you can turn your head around like that. That goes for a long touchdown. Suddenly, it's a shootout here in this 4th quarter, Dylan.
Yeah, all teams having a possession in the 4th quarter, all of them ending in offensive touchdowns. Pressured on the 2-point try, another ball batted in the air, but it goes incomplete. I imagine for the Axemen, they're going to be going for it on a 4th and 20 play to try to keep possession. You have an Eau Claire player a little slow to get up as we take another look. Another batted ball and another one for Mike Reynolds. He's already got a couple.
Mike Reynolds listed at 6'2". He's playing down there. He looks like he's 6'11". That is Malik Gallard, though, that is down. And that's going to be a big blow for Eau Claire, the starting quarterback, and he's not getting up right now. He just popped his own helmet off.
Now they bring the training staff out. Clock is stopped at 1:49. They're going to attend to the signal caller for Eau Claire. Meanwhile, I mean, let's look at the lay of the land right now. 48-27 to score. An unsuccessful 2-point try there for Eau Claire. That's 3 straight failed now. But, you know, look, again, we can see them. They're going to turn, more than likely going to do the 4th and 20. if you can get some conversions, some quick scores off of that, you can get yourselves back into the game. A lot has to go right for that to happen. But again, we never rule out anything here in the Arena League. But a big variable in that possibly happening is going to be the health and the status of starting quarterback Malik Gaylord, who has been down on the turf now ever since that last conversion play. And they got him up, sitting on his backside. Now he's going to be helped up by his teammates, so a positive sign. He's going to be escorted off the field, walking on his own power, so very encouraging to see. Now we'll wait and see what the Axemen are going to want to do here with 1:49 to go in the game. And again, they have the choice. I'm not saying that they have to, but I'm just saying if they're going to still be competitive in this game, you're going for this 4th and 20 coming up here, right?
Well, they do have all 3 timeouts, so at some point, it's going to be a matter of, and they are spotting it back at the 5, so it looks like they've already declared that. But if you're worried about your quarterback's health, there is the option here to say, never mind, we're going to throw off, and we're going to use our timeouts and see if our defense can't get us the ball back. And then, after that, if you score, you start worrying about 4th and 20 options to get those points. Just depending on whether or not you feel like it's extremely important that you need Gaylord on the field for this play. If you don't trust whoever you've got as the backup option right now, I would probably go ahead and throw this off. But obviously they still think that they've got a shot to get 20 yards here with or without their quarterback, and that's what they're going to go with.
And it's still a 3-score lead, so I mean, a lot has to go right here for Eau Claire, and it gets even more challenging when you don't have Gaylord back there. He's been a starting quarterback all season. So this is the 4th and 20 play. They have to get to midfield to keep possession. If they don't, Goats will take over wherever the ball is spotted and essentially will try to ice away the rest of the game. Yeah, with the Axemen having those 3 timeouts, as does St. Joe. But imagine won't be able to exactly just knee it out or run a couple of runs and call it good. So right now it looks like it's going to be Bryant Smith. He's going to be the one taking the snap. He's going to be on the shadow of his own end zone. Need to get to midfield. Fires and a tip slipped out of his hands one way or the other. It's not a successful try.
Yeah, so St. Joseph now will take it at the 5. Again, though, they do still have those 3 timeouts. We mentioned it. Yeah, guess who got a hand on that? That was Reynolds again. Goodness gracious, Mike. You can take 1 play off, buddy.
His 3rd or 4th that he's been able to get a fingertip on. Also has a half a sack, multiple pressures as well.
Another season in which Mike Reynolds is arguably the best defensive lineman in the league. He's been really good at this.
Former Kansas Jayhawk spent some time at some mini camp with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day, and he's been a force to be reckoned with here in the Arena League and with St. Joseph. Against the wall and caught for the touchdown, and that's the knockout punch for St. Joe. And for Ryan Martinez, that's his 4th receiving touchdown.
Ryan Martinez not afraid of a little contact. This time going full speed right into that wall and holding on to the ball regardless. Well-placed throw, by the way. Love the location on that. Beautiful. And now, the real question on everyone's mind. Dylan, are they going to get a conversion?
Can they do it? Let's see. Fade to Marshall, and he's not going to get it.
Security guy was open. He made the catch. Doesn't count. But nice hands on the security guy.
Looked like he handed it to Boo Smith. Boo, right on cue, tossed it up and over into the fans.
So we take a look.
Look at the hands of security guard right here. Boom.
Oh, I got it. Don't you even worry.
How about that?
Little bit of a bobble. But he held that in.
Could we, in 2 weeks, potentially see him suited up in the home powder blues of the St. Joseph Goats? We'll see. Maybe.
That was his tryout.
A full victory celebration in full effect here in St. Joseph, 54-27. Minute 39 to go. That should be the proverbial knockout punch, if you will, for Ryan Martinez. How about a night for Martinez? No stranger of making big plays, putting up big numbers, and with all the Receiving core receiving options not available tonight. A.D. Ely, Booth Smith. You count on one hand how many how many games that Booth Smith has missed in his St. Joe career. Maybe this is his second that he's missed tonight. And old reliable Ryan Martinez stepping up big time. Shout out to Isaiah Alston, Malik Wilson doing it as well. PJ Caldwell, both of Caldwell and Alston especially putting up career highs in receptions and yardage here tonight. It's been a well-rounded, full team effort. Wasn't quite as pretty as they wanted it to be, especially in that second quarter era, but since the third quarter on, coming out of halftime, this has looked like the St. Joe team that is like the championship caliber team that's been favored and selected to potentially win it all this year.
They certainly showcased a lot of argument to that degree.
Pressured again. And an interception again. Darius Lurfels puts out another 6 onto the board.
Well, we thought we were done with the drama of the conversions. We failed to anticipate that St. Joseph was going to be scoring on defense. There was still over 30 seconds to play. Plenty of time for St. Joe to get a pick six. What fools we were, Dylan. Darius Lurfels takes it to the house, gets a block from Reynolds out in front. It's going to be a 60-burger on the board for the Goats in front of the home crowd. They are swagging and surfing here at home.
And remember, 12 points at halftime, and all 12 of those coming in the first quarter. And they're going to end the game with at least 60. Just incredible. 6 straight scoring drives on offense the second half, and now 2 defensive pick sixes. For the conversion try to get the monkey off the back, but on some ricochets, it does not happen.
Oh, very close to a tip drill there, but no luck of the Irish for the ex-Lafayette High School graduate, Kingston Oliver.
Nicely done. Just
hitting the turf. And we'll get yet another throw off here with 24 seconds on that clock. As Eau Claire might very well just be thinking about their 4th of July plans at this point.
Maybe so. A 33-point lead for St. Joseph. The Woo looks like they had their game handled up against Nebraska. That would be an upset and one that works in favor of St. Joe, which would put both the Goats and the Siege at 4-1 atop of the North Division standings. And again, they will meet coming up in 3 weeks up in Grand Island. Deep return on the back of his own end zone. Decent return, close to the 20 for Bryant Smith. And the final seconds ticking away here. And this could just be ball game. And I think that's going to do it. So the Goats do their job here at home. Back in the win column. Final score 60-27. They handle the Eau Claire Axemen.
Huge victory for St. Joe. After it looked like last week's defeat might have caused them to go into a tiny bit of a spiral, as that first half, we mentioned it, did not go how they wanted it to go. Probably should have been down at the halftime. And instead, they come back out, second half, they regroup, and they look really dominant there in half number 2. The offense started clicking, the defense continued to do its thing. It's a 33-point win for the Goats.
It's a tale of 2 halves tonight for St. Joseph. No extracurriculars in the handshake line here tonight. A successful week for the Goats. Happy going into the 4th of July bye week at 4-1. Big win tonight here at home. We wrap it up from St. Joe when we return. St. Joseph dominant to close out the game here tonight. 60-27, your final score. A big win over the Eau Claire Axemen. Goats now 4-1 in the North Division, and Eau Claire falling to 0-5 overall. Offense high-powered for St. Joe in that second half. Aaron, 6 straight scoring drives to end it. You get two pick sixes, easy for me to say, in the second half as well. This is the kind of score, this is the performance we expected from St. Joe tonight. They get it done. Happy going into the 4th of July bye week.
Yeah, a huge victory to bounce back for St. Joseph. As you said, 2 weeks now to prepare for Iowa. That game, by the way, getting a little tighter. Nebraska's got the ball at down just 10. So that's one for St. Joe fans to keep an eye on as soon as we're off air. If you want to, I would hop on over there, take a gander at more Arena League action. We got a lot of good stuff in the Arena League this week, Dylan.
A lot of good stuff, and you can expect it to continue on the outside of the 4th of July bye week. Coming up in 2 weeks from now. It wasn't the prettiest of starts in this ball game, that's for sure, but St. Joe definitely found their rhythm in the second half and able to blow out the Eau Claire Axemen. 60-27 is your final score, and that's going to do it from us here in St. Joseph, Missouri, alongside our entire outstanding crew here in St. Joe at the Civic Arena, alongside Aaron Feely. I'm Dylan Funk saying so long. Happy 4th of July, everybody. Happy 250th birthday, America. We'll see you in 2 weeks back here on the Arena League YouTube channel.